Imagine opening a browser tab, typing a few casual words, and suddenly feeling that tiny jolt in your chest, the one that whispers, "There is no way this should be this powerful." That feeling is the core of what people mean when they say certain AI tools feel illegal to use. Not because they actually are illegal, but because they collapse effort, time, and skill in ways our brains haven't caught up with yet. For decades, power like this was locked behind years of training, expensive software, entire teams, or corporate infrastructure. Now it's available to anyone with an internet connection. That mismatch between access and capability is what creates the "this feels wrong" sensation, even when nothing unethical is happening. Think about how quickly the definition of hard has shifted. Writing a long report once meant hours of research, outlining, drafting, rewriting, and editing. Designing visuals meant learning complex tools, understanding color theory, and developing an eye for composition. Coding meant wrestling with documentation, bugs, and logic for months before you could build something usable. Today, AI tools compress these processes into minutes. When something that once took 10 years to master can be approximated in 10 seconds, your brain doesn't interpret it as convenience. It interprets it as cheating the natural order. One reason these tools feel illegal is that they remove visible struggle. Humans are deeply conditioned to associate value with effort. We respect things that look hard to do. When an AI produces a clean, articulate explanation, a functional app, or a stunning image instantly, there's no sweat, no frustration, no late nights. The output looks like the result of serious expertise, but the process feels almost lazy. That disconnect makes people uneasy, as if they've skipped a rite of passage they were supposed to endure. Another layer of discomfort comes from how these tools blur authorship. When you use AI to draft text, generate ideas, or polish your work, the result still sounds like you, but it isn't entirely you. It's a collaboration with something that doesn't sleep, doesn't doubt itself, and has absorbed patterns from an unimaginable amount of human knowledge. You might read the output and think, "I could have written this," but you know you didn't, not alone. That creates a strange identity tension. Are you still the creator, or are you now a curator, editor, and director of intelligence that isn't yours? These tools also feel illegal because they flatten hierarchies. Traditionally, expertise created distance. Experts were rare because gaining expertise was expensive in time, money, and opportunity. AI shrinks that distance. A solo creator can now match the output quality of a small team. A beginner can sound like a professional. Someone without formal training can perform at a level that used to require credentials. This isn't inherently bad, but it destabilizes systems built on scarcity. When scarcity disappears overnight, the rules that depended on it start to feel broken. There's also the speed factor. Humans are slow thinkers by design. Even our fastest insights are limited by biology. AI tools operate at a pace that feels almost unfair. You ask a question and receive an answer before your brain finishes forming the next thought. That speed doesn't just save time. It changes how you think. Instead of planning carefully before acting, you can act, test, refine, and repeat in rapid loops. This accelerates learning and creation, but it also makes the process feel like you're bending reality to your will. Consider idea generation. Brainstorming used to be a bottleneck. You'd sit staring at a blank page, waiting for inspiration. Now you can ask an AI for dozens of ideas in seconds, across multiple angles, tones, and audiences. This doesn't replace creativity, it multiplies it. But because ideas feel personal and almost sacred, outsourcing the initial spark feels like crossing a line. It's as if you've peeked behind the curtain of your own imagination and found a machine helping you pull the strings. Research is another area where the illegal feeling is strong. Finding relevant information once meant digging through articles, books, forums, and notes. AI can summarize, compare, and explain complex topics almost instantly. This doesn't just save time. It changes who gets to participate in knowledge-heavy conversations. When someone can quickly gain a working understanding of law, medicine, economics, or technology, it feels like they've accessed a shortcut that wasn't meant to exist. Writing assistance amplifies this feeling even more. AI can adapt tone, structure arguments, improve clarity, and eliminate errors at a level that rivals professional editors. For non-native speakers, this is transformative. It removes a barrier that once limited expression and opportunity. But for others, it feels like a quiet form of enhancement, similar to performance-enhancing drugs in sports. The output is cleaner, sharper, and more confident than what you might have produced alone, and that raises uncomfortable questions about fairness and authenticity. Then there's coding. Few things feel more illegal than describing an app in plain language and watching functional code appear. Programming has long been seen as a high-skill domain, guarded by complexity. AI tools don't eliminate the need for understanding, but they lower the entry barrier dramatically. You can prototype ideas, fix bugs, and explore technologies without memorizing syntax or reading endless documentation. This doesn't make you a senior engineer overnight, but it gives you leverage that feels disproportionate to your experience. Visual creation might be the most emotionally charged area. Images, illustrations, and designs generated from text challenge deeply held beliefs about art and originality. When a tool can produce a striking image in seconds, it feels like it's bypassing not just effort but the human soul. Even when you know the image is generated from patterns, not feelings, the result can still move you. That contradiction, emotional impact without human emotion, creates a sense that something forbidden has been unlocked. Another reason these tools feel illegal is that they expose how much of human expertise is pattern recognition. AI doesn't understand in the human sense, but it excels at identifying and reproducing patterns. When you see it perform tasks once thought to require deep understanding, it forces you to confront an uncomfortable truth. A lot of what we call intelligence is structured repetition at scale. That realization can feel like it cheapens human achievement, even though it doesn't have to. Power without gatekeeping is inherently unsettling. Historically, powerful tools came with friction. You needed licenses, training, or institutional backing. AI tools often require nothing more than curiosity. That openness is a feature, not a bug, but it clashes with our intuition about how power should be distributed. When anyone can access capabilities that rival those of well-funded organizations, it feels like the rules have been loosened too much too fast. There's also the fear of misuse lurking in the background. Even if you're using these tools ethically, you're aware that the same capabilities could be abused. The ease of generating persuasive text, realistic images, or automated processes raises concerns about misinformation, manipulation, and fraud. That awareness adds a subtle guilt to legitimate use, as if you're benefiting from something that could cause harm in the wrong hands. At the same time, these tools expose inefficiencies we've normalized for years. Many jobs involve repetitive cognitive tasks that don't require deep human judgment. AI reveals how much time we've collectively spent on work that could have been automated earlier. Realizing this can make past effort feel wasted, which contributes to the sense that something unnatural is happening now. If this was always possible, why did it take so long? Another emotional reaction comes from the shift in personal ambition. When you know you can get high-quality output quickly, your standards change. You start aiming higher, experimenting more, and shipping faster. This can be empowering, but it can also create pressure. If tools make excellence easier, mediocrity feels less acceptable. The bar rises, and with it, expectations. These tools also reshape learning. Instead of memorizing information, you learn how to ask better questions. Prompting becomes a skill in itself. This inversion of learning feels strange because it prioritizes communication and critical thinking over rote knowledge. It can feel like you're skipping foundational steps, even though you're actually developing a different kind of mastery. The illegal feeling is also cultural. We're in a transitional period where norms haven't caught up with technology. There aren't clear social rules yet about what's acceptable to automate and what isn't. Is it okay to use AI to write a first draft? To generate ideas? To debug code? To design visuals? Without shared norms, people rely on intuition, and intuition often flags rapid change as suspicious. Interestingly, the more you use these tools, the less illegal they feel. Familiarity breeds normalization. What once felt shocking becomes routine. Spell check, autocomplete, and search engines all went through similar phases. At first, they seemed like shortcuts. Now they're invisible infrastructure. AI tools are likely on the same path, though the magnitude of change is much larger. Another dimension is control. AI tools give you leverage without demanding deep commitment. You can dip in, get value, and leave. That lack of obligation contrasts with traditional skill building, which requires sustained effort. This makes the power feel unearned, even if you're using it responsibly. Humans are uncomfortable with benefits that don't require sacrifice. There's also a psychological effect of having an always available assistant. You can ask questions without fear of judgment. You can explore half-formed ideas privately. You can fail silently. This safety encourages experimentation, but it also feels like a private advantage, something others might not have or might not be using as effectively. When people say these tools feel legal, they're often reacting to a loss of friction. Friction slows us down, but it also gives structure and meaning. Removing friction accelerates outcomes but destabilizes identity, value systems, and social contracts. The feeling isn't about law. It's about legitimacy. Yet, it's important to remember that tools themselves are neutral. What matters is how they're used. Using AI to enhance creativity, learning, and productivity is not cheating. It's evolution. Humans have always built tools to extend their capabilities. Language, writing, printing, calculators, and computers all faced resistance at first. What makes this moment different is the scope. AI doesn't just extend muscle or memory. It extends cognition. That hits closer to what we consider uniquely human. When a tool operates in that space, emotional reactions are inevitable. Over time, new ethics, norms, and standards will emerge. Education will adapt. Workflows will change. New roles will appear that focus on judgment, taste, and responsibility rather than raw output. The illegal feeling will fade, replaced by a more nuanced understanding of collaboration between human and machine. Until then, that slight thrill you feel when using a powerful AI tool is a sign you're standing at the edge of a shift. It's the same feeling people must have had when they first used a printing press, a camera, or the internet. It feels like you're breaking the rules because the rules haven't been rewritten yet. The real challenge isn't whether these tools are too powerful. It's whether we can adapt our values, systems, and sense of self quickly enough to use them wisely. If we do, the tools that once felt illegal will simply feel inevitable.